Check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check.
Appreciate it very much. Uh, I'm thrilled to be back here. You listen, hearing about me listening, and I do. And when I talk to people around the time about what it's like, intrigued, and they want to know. Morning, here ready to ask questions and to listen, and that makes you feel the American people how it's supposed to be done. So I'm going to try to show you how it's done this morning. Campaign changed 8 days ago. It changed, and when evil gets visited, no matter where those innocent people are, doesn't matter where people are in innocent people are in Lebanon. When evil gets visited upon innocent people, it brings a reaction from the American people because it's part of the core of who we are, that we believe innocent, peaceful people should be allowed to live their lives in freedom and liberty. And that's how this campaign changed 8 days ago. 8 days ago, I was in Des Moines, Iowa, and we started to get some initial conversations over the internet about something happening in Paris. And as the day went on further and further, it got worse and worse. And for many, we sat TV sets on Friday evening and watched the coverage. We not only felt a great sense of empathy for the people, but we also, I'm sure, felt even more acutely the growing sense of. And so let's be plain about a few things as we start this conversation today. The number one job of the President of the United States of America is to protect the safety and security of the American people. That's the first thing. There are people both inside our government and in our country who believe somehow that other responsibilities come first. I have to tell you the truth. After this week, it's almost funny to be lectured by the President of the United States. Now, I was lectured by the President of the United States this week from far away. You know, he said, oh, there's some tough guys in this race who are afraid of widows and orphans. Well, once again, this president misunderstands. But the great thing about this president is, and I said this a couple times this week, I want to say it again. When we look back, there are lots of things we could think. But I will tell you the one thing that I will always remember. The one phrase that symbolizes his failed leadership in this country. Often wrong, never in doubt. This man has been wrong over and over and over again, yet he continues to say, you're going to believe me or your lying eyes? As we watch the world fall apart, Barack Obama continues to tell us that everything is just fine. And that what we see is not what we should believe. And so, yeah, I am concerned about widows and orphans. The widows and orphans I'm concerned about are the widows and orphans that live in my state, the widows and orphans of September 11th. And I do not want to create another generation of those widows and orphans. And if I'm President of the United States, we will do everything we can to make sure that there are no American deaths from terrorist attacks in this country. That's got to be the top priority of the President of the United States. And we've got to do it with a sense of mission, everybody. With a sense of mission. But if we don't first, and so we're going to do that. Now, we may have to wait 14 months. America needs a person in the Oval Office who's not a college professor. Okay? Now, I'm not professors, they help to increase that intellect. Belong in the Oval Office. Decision makers belong there. People who are willing to stand up and be from New Jersey about some things that were going on in the state that I needed to be briefed on. And she looked at me and she said, what's going cannot permit questions. And his first question was, who's your best friend? And I said, Mary Pat. And he said, not anymore. I said, who's my best friend? He said, your best friend is going to be Steve Sweeney, the president of the New Jersey State Senate. Democrat, head of the local iron workers. He said, here's the thing, Chris. He said, if you don't make the Senate president your best friend, you have no chance of being successful. And you need to do everything you can to convince him that you're his friend and that he can trust you. And then you have to be his friend, and he has to be able to trust you. That takes a lot of work and time. And I are friends now. And we have, I might expect from me and worker and direct, but we work things out together because we trust each other. He knows Mary Pat and our four. We've gone out to dinner together frequently, out for drinks, more meetings than I can count, more phone calls than I can count. I tell you that there are spent more time with people I don't like than I can count. But that's the job. So part of what we need to do in Washington, once again, is the president. And the only way you're the center of the action is to spend your time doing it. You cannot be out on the golf course, okay? You can't be off doing what it is you want to do. You've got to be in the middle of the fight, and you've got to get these folks to trust you. One of the things that I thought was most telling about the Obama presidency was about 3 or 4 months ago, it was announced that for the first time in nearly 7 years, John Boehner was going to be Air Force One. Now, how is that? He's the Republican leader of the House for the entire Obama presidency. It's the first time he's going to be in Air Force One. Let me make another announcement to all of you. If I'm president of the United States and Nancy Pelosi is still banned, but she's going to be on Air Force One whenever she wants. She can take the M&Ms if she wants. I don't care, right? Because every minute that she spends with me, she's going to realize one thing. Person and she cares about this country. We absolutely, and that's where you have to govern, in that space. And you got to be willing to compromise. Remember, compromise, everybody, is not a dirty word. Compromise is not capitulation. And we made that because the minute you compromise, you're called a capitulator. I've been called so many things. Capitulator would be a good day for me, okay? So I'm not worried about it. That's what we'll go and we'll do. That's what we've done in New jersey. And that doesn't mean, and, you know, because then people go, well, this or that hasn't happened in New Jersey. It's not perfect by far. But let me tell you, try to find another place in America where it's had that much bipartisan agreement and compromise. It's work. Republican Congress or a split or a Democratic Congress. You got to do the same thing because you can't take your Republicans for granted either because they're going to have different points of view and you got to work with them. That 1% we don't agree on, we got to work on that. And it's my job to say, well, okay, because here's what you want more than anything else. You want the and we do. You'd like it to work. Given how much the government will continue the manufacturing plants. This is it. You're only I'm not governing anymore. Really? Failure. I don't care why you did it. You got to figure out a way to get it done. We've done it in New Jersey. I'm not saying I'm going to make Washington, D.C. Shangri-La. I'm not. But what I will do is force it, cajole it, and hug it, if I have to work. And that's what we have to do. I don't think there's any other reason to run for president of the United States. If you're not willing to get at the helm of that thing and try to make it work, then what are you doing running? Because believe me, I don't need another title. I got plenty. Plenty. So that's why we need to do it.
Governor, unlike a lot of people, so can you just talk a little bit more, distinguish your experience from the...
I think it's two things. First off, it's what I was just talking about in response to her question, which is a week. Now, whether it's Governor Kasich or Governor Bush, they had Republican legislatures the entire time.
To distinguish between Islam, a peace-loving global religion with many Muslims in this country, and the totalitarian distortion that it is, radical Islam.
You bet. Listen, radical Islam is what we're fighting against. And this baloney that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama tried to put out, well, we can't use that phrase. Why? Why can't we use that? I have no problem. And not try to impose. I'm all for that. It would be no better if this was radical Catholicism. It would be no better. Impose their beliefs on us. That's what this is all about. Don't be kidded by anything else. They want their beliefs imposed. And the fight for the free world is to say, practice them fervently, emotionally. People, just don't try to impose them on me. And don't use violence. For lots of other folks in this race, Islam are theoretical. They're not for me. I was named U.S. Attorney for New Jersey on September 10th, 2001. And the next day, I took the day off from work, and my wife did what she was doing every day at that time for about 20 years, which was to get station, the train to Jersey City, get on the PATH train, take the PATH into the World Trade Center. And at 7:30 that morning, she walked through the World Trade Center like 2 blocks. And after I dropped our kids off at school that day, I came home, I turned on the TV, and I saw the first building on fire. I called her and I said, "What's going on?" I'll call you as soon as I can. At the time, we had 3 children. They were other things that turned out not to be true, but we're getting 35 in the afternoon. The way it is. And as president, I'll govern a world as it is, not as I wish it were.
Governor Christie.
Thank you, sir.
In the Middle East, Saudi Arabia our enemy or an ally? And explain that, please.
I think it's up to us. Now, Saudi Arabia has a mixed background. regarding the support of terrorism. We know that. What we also know, though, is right now, if you were the Saudis, what would to where the problem is? So here's what I've said. First, on Social Security. We need to acknowledge a really wonderful fact. We're all living longer. We're living longer, better lives. I just saw a few of you women smiling. Us. 10 years down to 4. We are gaining on you. And here's the thing. 4-year vacation from us, you were counting on every day of your life. He said, no. And I said, well, then you're getting it. That's the point. I want you to get it. And I said, no. He said, it's my money. I put it in. I want it back. A couple of bad news points for you, right? First off, they say there's a social... Those were the good old days. We were running against Al Gore.
To sort of budge on in order to compromise with Democrats?
It's hard to tell, right? It depends on the day. In this respect, you know, what do I get? Right? There's always two sides to a deal. We were trying to do criminal justice reform. And $250 could be monitored. Because what they were saying was for the very poor in our state, $250, they didn't have it. Essentially becoming a debtor's prison. I said to them, okay, that the only thing you can consider when deciding whether to give someone bail or not is consider in New Jersey their history of violence. And I allow myself to really think about what it might be like to be president of the United States, this is one of those things that really brings a smile to my face. Here's the thing. Vladimir Putin's a smart guy. He's a smart guy. And if you 4 or 5 weeks ago, his interview on 60 Minutes, okay? And that's a scary combination, everybody. You know, the dog you can deal with. You know, you go, hey, your shoes are untied, you know? And he looks down and then you slug him and then it's over, right? And so if he is, we got to knock him off his horse a little bit. And I think as president of the United States, if you're direct with him, he will get that. Candidates say, let, you know, Putin bomb ISIS. Putin's not bombing ISIS. And he's not going to bomb ISIS. He doesn't care than doing something. Because gosh, if you do something, somebody might get hurt. Well, watch all the people who are getting hurt now. This is a guy who said that his example of we need, so here are two things. One, we don't allow students to refinance rates than market. Don't allow them to refinance it if they have the ability. 15 or 20 years. Service as an option, in my view, for people to work off. In addition, if young people leave with a good amount of debt, let's let them dedicate 2 or 3, 4 years of their life to working to improve their community, their state, or their country, and give them credits off of their student loans for that. Our communities will be better, our country will be better for it, they will learn a lot of things, and will help them not to have to make bad decisions in their career off the bat because all they're worried about is how they're going to pay the bills. But we'll help them work that off so that then when they want to make those decisions about how he wants to take the next step in his career, he's making that decision based on what's in his heart, not on what's on just a loan on the balance sheet and what he's going to have to pay off in loans. On the other side, though, the real problem here and the real scandal here are the colleges. Because, let me give you an example. This summer, we got a letter from the president of the University of Notre Dame, Father John Jenkins. It's the University of Notre Dame, right? So here's the first paragraph. In essence, it says, we want to thank you for the blessing that you've bestowed upon us to entrust the souls of your children for their education to us over the next number of years. Right? When you get done with the paragraph, right, you can hear the theme from Rudy playing in the background, right? You close your eyes, you can see the Golden Dome and touchdown Jesus, right? You see the whole thing, right? You're pumped. So now, for those of you in this audience who are Catholics, and I want to direct this specifically to my fellow Catholics, what's the next paragraph when it's coming from a priest? The money paragraph, right? Invariably, they first grab your heart, and then they go, okay, where's the wallet, right? So the next paragraph says, that's why we're so pleased to inform you that tuition this year at Notre Dame will only increase 3.9%. Now, this is in a 1% inflation world, everybody. 3.9%. He then says, which is the smallest annual increase in tuition at Notre Dame in 40 years. A nearly 4% annual tuition increase is the lowest in 40 years. Then he says, that's why we're able to tell you that total student cost for this academic year will be $62,500. I think we have to do a few things with these colleges. First off, they need to tell us what they're spending this money on, okay, in detail. Now, how many of you, raise your hand, either are paying or have paid college bills? Raise your hand. All right, right? Is it the most opaque bill in America? It's 3 lines, right? Tuition, room and board, other fees, all right? $62,500. Now, if you all went in Stratham tonight to whatever your favorite restaurant is in Stratham, right? 4 of you went, and you had nice dinner, a couple of drinks, and the bill came, and it was $125. And all it said was, food, $125, right? You'd call the waiter over and go, hey, dude, come here for a second, would you? Could you lay out here specifically what everybody had and how much it all cost so we can know? For $125, you're gonna really stick it to that waiter and go, get back here and detail this. 62.5 to Notre Dame, where do I sign? Where do I send the check? No problem. They need to be detailing for us what they're spending this money on. Because if they did, it would stop. They're doing it in private. They're doing it, and we're letting them do it. I made a joke about this right at the beginning of the campaign. I said, do you know that there's an epidemic in America on campuses of rock climbing walls? I was saying, you know, what do we need rock climbing walls for? My daughter, Sarah, the sophomore at Notre Dame, was with me on this town hall meeting. She grabbed me kind of from on the tail of my jacket, and she goes, we have a bunch of rock climbing walls at Notre Dame. I said, you do? She said, oh, yeah. Oh, all right. So then I gave a speech on higher ed at Iowa State. And so a bunch of students were sitting behind me, and I started talking about the rock climbing walls. I said, you guys have rock climbing walls at Iowa State? And they said, oh, yeah. All right, so I almost might be able to understand that because I've driven in Iowa a lot now. There are no rocks. Right? There's some corn, there's some soybeans, there's some wind turbines, no rocks, all right? But then I came to UNH. And I gave a speech at UNH and I said, do you guys have rock climbing walls? And they said, oh yeah. I said, you have rocks, man. This is the granite state. Why do you need a rock climbing wall in the granite state? Get your rear end to Mount Washington and climb, okay? You wanna climb, climb. Like, seriously. And then, of course, the press has a lot of fun with that, right? The headline, I swear to you, on one of the stories was, Christie's assault on fitness on college campuses. Now, I gotta tell you the truth, man. I have assaulted fitness in many ways, as you can see. Many ways over the years. That's not one of them. That leads me to my second point. You should be able to unbundle the bills. Okay, you should be able to pick what you want to pay for. This guy not going to use the rock climbing wall, don't pay for it. You're not going to do certain things, you're going to be a commuter, you're not going to live on campus. Unbundle the bill. They have to allow us to pay for what we're going to use. You know why? Not only because it's fair, but because it's a market force on those costs. If 98% of the people now don't check off the rock climbing wall box, guess what? The rock climbing wall ain't being built. And you know what? I got to tell you the truth. I know my 19-year-old daughter, she's not using it. I know her. She's not climbing the rock climbing wall. I know Sarah's not doing it. I know she isn't. It's a serious point because that's the way we're going to put market forces on this because there's no other way to do it. You know why? Oh. Do you have a place you think you really want to go? All right. Guess what? You really want to go to Boston College. That's what I'm going to tell you, just for the sake. Play along with me. So let's say he's in your ear from the time he's 15. Look at this kid, all right? That he wants to go to. The Eagles are that's where he wants to go. He's telling you the whole time. He works like crazy. He gets great grades. He works hard. He gets great SAT scores. He has great other activities. He applies. He does a great interview at Boston College, and he gets admitted to Boston College. Another place. It's not a value, right? You make the economic decision. It's not a value, so we're going to send them some. You call him downstairs with his Boston College sweatshirt on. Extraordinarily angry, disappointed young man who's invested in his education in the place where he's gone. And if my 19-year-old daughter, will borrow more money. They know that too. They know. Got us. There's nothing more important in your life than his success and his happiness. Nothing. Nothing. There's nothing more important in my life than the success and happiness of my children. Nothing. And there's nothing I wouldn't do to make that more possible. And the problem is, they know it. They know it. So they know if you go to that restaurant in Stratham and the bill isn't $125, it's $400, you go, okay, all right, one mistake, I'm not coming back here, ever. I don't care how good the food is, I'm not coming back. You don't have the same latitude, and they know that. So we have to make them allow you to unbundle those bills. How do we get those things done? This is the way I would do it. If you don't allow us to unbundle the bills and you don't detail for the parents what you're spending the money on, you do not get to participate in the federal student loan or student grant programs. You want to take our taxpayer money? Then you're going to tell us what's going on. You're going to be honest with parents. You're going to give them choice so they don't have to bury their kids and themselves in debt in order to give their kids a chance at being the best they can possibly be. And whether that's at the local community college or whether it's at Boston College, whether it's at Harvard or whether it's at Iowa State, it doesn't matter. Wherever that is that they believe they can reach their fullest potential, we should give them the opportunity to do that, and they should not be able to hold us over a barrel, and that's what they're doing right now. And you need the government to say, okay, you want to hold us over a barrel? That's your choice, but do it on your dime. No more federal grant money, no more federal loan money. Believe me, you know what they'll do? They'll unbundle the bills and they'll detail the spending because they can't afford not to get that money. They'd go out of business. So we got to play hardball with these guys. In a world that is a softball world in college, and believe me, we're watching the stuff that's going on college campuses right now, they should start focusing on what the hell they really should be doing rather than all this other baloney that they're focusing on. We've got to get them focused on the fact that we cannot put a generation in that kind of debt, because if he's in that kind of debt, he's not going to be able to buy a home. He's not going to be able to get married. He's not going to be able to have children when he might want to because he's worried about paying off this debt. And he's not going to be able to pick the career he really wants. He's going to pick the career that pays him the most so he has the money to pay off his loans. And that's not right. And I think those are the things we need to do. And we do not need, for God's sake, to go to the socialist view of free college. Because let me tell you something, free college will also get respected by students in the way that anything you're given free gets. Right? Anything you're given for free, you go like, it's for free. I leave it on the floor of the car. It's for free. Who cares, right? It's got to be able to still have some sacrifice, some skin in the game from all of us to make it worth something. So that's the way I would approach the problem, both as a president and as a father, both. All right. So, I got a big day today. I got another town hall meeting at 2:30. Is in a bar. Yeah, why not? You know, you guys went to the early ones. Sorry. Maybe I should talk to the staff. Maybe we really should provide bonuses if we're going to do these early, week ones. It might, at least for me, might make me. Like I said at the beginning. You all here in New Hampshire show the country how it should be done. Also, of being able to do really well. By the time and cast your votes, you're going to have had a belly full of us, I suspect. We'll be everywhere, in every one of your neighborhoods, on your TV constantly, all the rest of it. But you're going to get to know us really well, and you're going to help to winnow this field for the American people. And you're doing it in a way that's really responsible because you're taking the time to sit and listen and question and consider all of us. And I think that's a great service that you're providing to the people of the country. And I will tell you as a candidate, it's inspired. They should never change, ever change, Iowa and New Hampshire being the first two. They never should, because you all give every candidate hope. It's not about how much money you raise. It's not about how famous you are. It's about, are you willing to come to people and look them in the eye to win people over. And you continue to give candidates the confidence that if you do that, you're going to be willing to consider them, regardless of how famous they are when they get here. And the thing for a candidate, I would say it's inspiring to me, and it's encouraged me to continue to work really hard. Funny story that a guy who early on came up to me after the town hall meeting, and he said, Governor, I agree with everything you said. I said, well, thank you. I said, well, what didn't I do? Don't worry about it. He said, you stood up there for 2 hours, you answered every question. And I said, well, can I have your vote? And he said, too late. Walk away. And I said, is it over? And he said, I'll come back another. And he turned around, and he was like, from here to the door, away from only a few people left. He turned back around, and I said, well, he turned around, he goes, son, that's the way we do it in New Hampshire. Being a dummy, I'm asking for the vote, okay? I am here to ask for the vote. Trust and your confidence also. And I want to get there, and I want to do this job. I desperately want to do this job. See, it's not enough just to win your vote one day based on something I say or how you feel. And between us, a automobile of life. Yeah, Mom set the rules. Mom was she liked the last part the best. And she had all the rules that she set, but the biggest rule in our house was, growing up, there is no suffering in silence. Now, Mom set this rule because she was the one who utilized it most. And so she had something on her mind, there was some problem, she would put it out. I got to be a teenager finally. I'd start to push back. Enough, all right, I get it. Stop. And she'd say, no, 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 Christopher. And she was a lifetime smoker. And she smoked from the time she was 16 years old in 1948. And it inevitably led to diagnosis of lung cancer. She got diagnosed on Valentine's Day of 2004. It can either be kind of a long, lingering disease that takes a long time to bring someone to the end, or it can happen very quickly. In my mom's case, I was off at the U.S. Attorney's National Conference in San Diego, and I got a call from my brother. It's the end of April of 2004, and he took a real turn for the worse. Say, if you don't get home. So I took the red-eye flight that night home from San Diego, landed in Newark. And so for those of you who got through that piece of it, you know that's the last step. And they're just trying to pain and make her comfortable. And so I made her sleep. And so I sat there next to the bed. How was your trip? Or how was, she looks at me, she goes, what day is it? I said, well, good morning, Mom. How are you? I'm here to sit with you today, but it's Friday. And exactly what you're feeling, because in a trusting relationship, Chris, that's what we do. That would be the requirement. And so you don't have to wonder why I say the things I say or why I do the things I do. It's because I believe you have the right. And if I'm going to ask you for your vote and for your confidence and your trust, to know. And that's the kind of president I'll be. There will be days you'll see me on TV as president and you'll say, oh